Hello, hello, hello. How are you, Taurus? Welcome. This is the Feminine Inquisition, and we're doing your reading for Aquarius season. I hope that you are well. This is for Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or any placements that are dear to you, in addition to any Taurus that you might care about. So, I just want to say that for Aquarius season, there are a lot of astrological events. Many of them are positive, right? But for you, there's a lot going on, particularly my Taurus risings, and that is because Uranus is in your first house. So this is your sense of identity that is taking on many shifts. And with every single planet that is having some aspect to Uranus, there's going to be these changes rippling out in different areas of your life. And I think it's been ongoing. I don't think that it is a new thing that's happening. What's this? But it is definitely going to be in the sphere of the public sector, because we have a whole bunch of energy in your 10th and 11th house, which is respectively Aquarius and Pisces. So with that said, we're talking about how other people perceive you, how you hope to be perceived, some of your relationships on a collective level. That includes friends, families, and it's not so much about the love dynamic, but that's definitely how you show up as an individual in partnership, because you're juggling a lot at this moment in time. So I thought we'd start. Well, I want to say that we have the new setup and we have the new way in which I can switch and show you the cards. So everything here, I'm super grateful that you get a chance to see them, because everything here as it falls is part of the reading. Not just the visual, the beautiful illustrations on the multiple decks, but how they fall onto each other in relationship with each other. Also, often my guides will speak to me when I have the deck back in my hand. They will split at a particular card, which is relevant for the whole message. So I thought we'd start with the Lenormand. And I want to make sure that I'm using this deck because it does relate to different kinds of concepts of people, right? In the public sphere, it relates to that very much. So let's just see. We'll use this oracle and start the reading. Here we go. For Taurus, for Aquarius season, anything that we can have as an overview. Thank you. We have the tree in reverse with book at the bottom. Now, a tree would be the stability, the way that you ground yourself, the way that you grow, standing firm in your roots for truths that you believe in. Again, it is a question of identity. 5, as we know, have to do with challenges, a sort of way in which we are or are not being challenged for what we're grounded in. And so I'm just going to open this up to see if there's a combination between book and tree, but there isn't, right? And the way that the book describes the tree is about the physical and mental health for your well-being, something to do with ancestors as well, okay? Now, if we continue to go and we look a little bit at the book, we know that this is about wisdom, this is about knowledge, this is about growth and understanding of maybe oneself, because this is about your well-being. And so maybe you're discovering how you've been moving so far and what you need to do in terms of changes for your well-being. And you're doing some self-study. Could be about learning yourself or learning deeper aspects about you, like, for example, your astrology, maybe your human design, any bit of your personality that you feel has brought you to a crossroads that you could maybe look deeper into. The book is also about becoming an expert at daily journaling, keeping record. Maybe you're becoming aware of the changes that are taking place at this time in your life, and you're trying to write them down so that you can be present with them. If I see if there's book and tree, no, I don't have any combination in the book, but I can tell you that this is a thoughtful moment about what it means to be here and now, connected and well, in full alignment. And it's not different from what I was saying at the start. There's a lot about your well-being that requires some further reflection, be it journaling or further study to understand why these changes are taking place in the way they are, why your tree is in reverse, why your well-being is the experience that you're having right now. So I'm going to go right into that. Tell me about the vitality and the health of Taurus as it relates to this tree. For messages for their highest good for Aquarius season. Let's go, Taurus. All right. Rough. For Taurus, for Aquarius season. For the tree. Eight of Swords crossed by the King of Pentacles. So we know that that King of Pentacles covers the earthly plane, the protector, the provider, like I said, with Tower at the bottom of the deck, change, sudden change, sudden upheaval. So we know that this is suggestive of what Taurian concepts would be: how to maintain something, how to take care of something, the day-to-day, the way in which we are practical in the plan and the approach, the long-term goals, the long-term health. And currently, you've got a blockage here. Your power cannot be completely confirmed. It cannot be upright. It cannot be determined. There's no courage here because there's a mental way in which you feel your hands are tied. Perhaps the thoughts that you are keeping are stopping you from taking action. Perhaps there's things that you'd like to say that you don't really have a way to ground them, to find the words, to find the time. Maybe it's also about what is valued, what to take a chance on, what to find a solution for. You're not sure because you're in this reevaluation while you study, because so much is changing at such a rapid pace regarding emotions, regarding the capacity to stay emotionally stable. The resistance of, Five of Swords. So this is the part where it comes into other people. So the Five of Swords is often talked about as in, again, 5 and 5, right? There's something unstable here, and I'm going to say that it has to do with your ability to perceive a problem, find a solution, communicate what your ideas are, or the way that you are interpreting other people's ideas. This is a win at all costs card, but without the King of Pentacles upright, I don't think that the rules of the game are what they once were, and I don't think that the rewards or the wins are in sight. I don't think that it's very clear. I have two heads of state here, so there's a huge shift to what maybe you used to operate in and what you could be challenged to find growth in. Like I said, Uranus is in your first house. Your sense of self is being cataclysmically shifted, right? And I'm curious about the tower. I'm going to use the Osho Zen to give me some information about the tower. It is because perhaps you don't know, you can't think your way out of this situation, because it doesn't require thought, it requires heart. Can I see the tower? What's changing? What's falling apart? What foundation is no longer working? What's changing for Taurus and Aquarius season, please? What's changing for Taurus and Aquarius season? Thank you. 3 of Swords, more thoughts. 10 of Swords, the betrayal, the isolation, confusion, and then the Hermit with the Sun at the bottom of the deck. No, this is the Ace of Wands. It just is a cell, so it looks like the Sun, but it's the Ace of Wands. How to manage a cell, an understanding, the beginning stages of growth, to become something, the connection to source, to be a conduit, to let change move through you. In order to become anything, you must be willing to break down, right? Every single time we create something, there is destruction inherent in that creation. And this is an ending. This is a sadness. This is an isolation. This is a freezing out of oneself. This is the clouds of what once was, or what your thoughts about it were, and it ending. And the lesson for, in this deck, it's French, le renaissance. This is to say that nothing ever ends, right? You see there's one camel, and from the camel in the past comes the lion, and from the lion comes a person, and it's like this eternal way in which nothing ever ends. But it is the end of a mindset. And in order to do that, one must heal and get back to the source. How did we get here? Virgo energy. King of Wands. So the direction of the tower is to move into fire, to take you through a combustion so that your identity can transform, alchemize. Where you've been operating is in a mental plane, and it's dethroned the 3D. And so it's asked you to go inwards into the internal landscape, which is this self-study, to become a sage of your experience, to understand everything that you have done up until this point, and to be complete with it. It took you for a ride. It was necessary. Nothing is ever lost. But in order to keep growing, this change must be experienced. The tower. I feel this is really the centerpiece here. So let's learn Let's learn more. Show me this Three of Swords. Show me this Three of Swords, please. First, we learn the pain. Then we learn your part in it. Then we learn how we move forward. Okay? Show me this Three of Swords, please, for Taurus. This Three of Swords for Taurus for Aquarius season. It's the Nine of Swords. The stress, the anxiety, the lack of rest, the departure, the overwhelming feeling that one must walk away from something that is dissatisfying. Now, I don't know how much of that pain was processed. Justice, sorry, you can't see. Justice. So let's say a few options. 1, someone was unfair to you. 2, you were unfair to someone. 3, you were unfair to yourself and therefore unfair to all the people that you were connected to. 4, there was a union here, a contract sign, a document that binds you with someone else in terms of equal reciprocity, give and take, truth and honesty, majestic way in which you show up as the best version of yourself, knowing that karma is eternal. But this pain stressed you to the point that you had to turn your back to it. Was that the right thing to do? Was that the fair thing to do? Looks like you were hoping to just have a reset. King of Swords. More mental energy. Okay. I will say that it remains to be clear if it was the right thing to do, because I know that this change, this tower, is taking you to the King of Cups. And if you show me the King of Swords, well, things are missed in the evaluation of the King of Swords. And we know that you're moving away from that. So let's learn. The ending, the 10 of Swords. The ending of this mindset, the rock bottom. Ooh, 2 cards. You can see it, right? That's so good. You can see everything. The Hermit and the 4 of Pentacles. The rock bottom. The belonging to oneself, the clarity and the wisdom of experience with the holding on. You see, you cannot move in the way that this card describes it through all the life cycles that you have in this life if you hold on. The leaves must release so that the tree can live. This is a mindset issue. Something is blocked. A mindset issue. Something is blocked. Stress. Quickly walking away from it. Let's, because these just fell out, I'm going to ask if there's anything else. For the 10 of Swords, maybe clarifying the 4 of Pentacles. What is held on to so tightly? Page of Cups. If you're a parent, the protection of one's child. If you have an inner child, the protection of your triggers, the trauma, how you respond, management of your stress, coping mechanisms, relaying or referring to old experiences, and therefore never getting more emotionally responsible, clear, or conscious in what it means to be vulnerable, giving yourself excuses, that the idea of just going into isolation is the way to manage stress. But as you can see, it doesn't. The moon. Fear. The unknown. When you can't see the whole picture. All of your emotions. How you deeply feel about your connection to people, places, and things. A sense of truth. A sense of purification. The subconscious. The unseen. So I'm having this phrase come to me, which is that those who feel it know it. And she can't know anything about her stability or what keeps her strong and grounded to be representing or to be embodying this head of state for the King of Pentacles. Because her emotional capacity is so low. She can't really belong to herself, or you can't really belong to yourself and be guided by your own inner light if you grip the reality or your idea of the experiences that you have had, what you've invested in, what you've lost, what you hold on to, what you think is valuable. If you hold on so tightly, you can't see it objectively. If you hold on so tightly, you act as if you're trying to protect and guard yourself from losing it. But the wisdom of the hermit is that there is nothing that you can lose. The light is within. Now there's a split here. You see this word? It should not be showing, but we will look at it. And I already know what it is, but I will show it to you. I'm not saying this word, ralentissement. This is a French deck. So this is the Knight of the Knight of Pentacles. Slowly, to slow down. But that's a very simplified, it's a delay. And so I'm reading that as a delayed aspect to your ability to lift this mindset. With the moon here, there's a bit of ego that's involved in the holding on, an identity that is attached to things that that is so tight that the stress becomes overwhelming, and without the emotional capacity to connect to it, understand it, find compassion in it, to see yourself in the other, whomever it is why the swords become overwhelming. And maybe this is what you are learning about. And that is why I wanted to bring cards about relating to others, because I knew that it was going to ripple out into relationships. Can I see the Hermit here, please? This is where you are going, and this is what you are learning. And this is your connection to source, if you can manage it. Here, you're telling me that the focus was too much on the betrayal and what you held on to, that it was not possible. You didn't end with the Hermit. You decided to try and heal, but all that meant was isolation because you were holding on. And this is this cap, this emotional cap of your understanding. So what are you learning now? What will you learn when we get into the throes of Aquarius season? Can I see, please, this solitude? The Six of Wands, the Knight of Cups, and the Five of Wands. That is great. So whatever conflict you were experiencing previously with other people and or with yourself, it's excellent to see the 5 and the 6 together, right? So the 5 and the 6 are so heavenly, wow, so heavily connected. This is the combat, this is the chaos, the competition, the confusion, and this is when you decide to really work together, you are exalted into this place of victory and public success. So in this process of isolation, throughout Aquarius season, you do connect to source. Here are the wands to prove it. And you're putting you're balancing this in the everyday. You're very busy, and it's possibly a pursuit of passion that has brought your cup energy back to life and full. And maybe part of your self-study is understanding what it means to drink from your cup before you offer it to other people. Checking in. This suggests that the time that you have been with Hermit energy has brought you the awareness that you have to find a balance between your doing and your feeling. Rather than your thinking and being overwhelmed. And this is a this is a Jupiter in Capricorn card. And it's the third decan of Capricorn, so it's the time that we're in right now, before we shift. There, justice is returned. Perhaps you weren't balanced previously, but you have found a new balance as it relates to this 10 of Swords that you experienced, and that brings you to a fullness of hope. The Ace of Cups and the Sun, the consciousness, whatever new identity needs to take place. Yes, the confidence of the 9 of Pentacles. Awesome. I love that. Let's check in what this conflict was, okay? And we'll see if we can get some other people who may have been involved. Can I see this 5 of Wands for Taurus, for Aquarius season? What resolution you may find with someone. Can I see this 5 of Wands, please? Okay. So, the consultant. I might be talking to a masculine. I have the man for the consultants. Now, at the bottom of the deck, I have reconciliation. I just said that. So there is visit in reverse and present. And so there is a gift here. Why would visit be in reverse? Now, there is a gift here. And these are three people sitting at a table. This man is carrying some sort of clock, which is a gift, the gift of time. And so maybe after a prolonged period of time of not showing up in your isolation, not coming through, here you are with the present, being present, the present moment. You being embodied in the present moment, knowing that your vulnerability, your authenticity, your hope, your dreams, your passion, with a weapon of choice as the cup of love, is what brings about a reconciliation. The reconciliation doesn't have to necessarily be like a ex-lover and you get back or anything like that. Reconciliation meaning no more conflict inside, no more conflict outside. But it's been slow. The Knight of Pentacles. I keep on saying strange words out of my mouth. Yeah, let's see if I can get anything from the Lenormand about reconciliation. For Taurus, what is this reconciliation about? For Taurus, for Aquarius season, what is this reconciliation about? I know there's one in here. For Taurus, what is this reconciliation? As it relates to the Tower, as it relates to the Eight of Cups, the Knight of Cups. No. Thank you. Book is still at the bottom of the deck. Learning what? The bouquet. 9. So Aquarius will mark the change of the actual year, right? The real new year, when we finally get into the fire horse year. It's where we have the first eclipse, and it marks the ending of the 9 year and the beginning of the 1 year. Now the bouquet is let's see. It's a gift, it's beauty, it's art, it's grace, it's charm. It also has to do with the spring. And the bouquet and book is not an option for a combination. But this is about pleasure. And a woman of sharp wit and intelligence, a divorcee. And so because justice was here 2 times, and we now have a card that has to do with a divorcee, I wonder if we're talking about a marriage. I'm just going to grab another deck and we're going to check in directly and ask the Tower if the Tower was a breakup and a divorce, and if it stays that way, if perhaps there's a conclusion about whether or not you stay together, you change your plan, or you have an amicable way in which you end things. Can I see, please, for Taurus, the bouquet, number 9, this divorcee, as it relates to the visit, the reconciliation, the presence, the juggling, the back and forth, the connection to source, the learning, the self-study, the Tower for Aquarius season for Taurus, please. What is this bouquet? The end of resistance. Oof, hold on. The World and the 2 of Pentacles. So the end of conflict and the finding of the balance, right? Homeostasis. trying to see both sides of the situation, the confidence, the capability to communicate to someone that you care about deeply, that maybe cares deeply about you, the emotional detachment, the waiting, the fears, the rejoice, the reconciliation, and the certainty with which it can be done. This is the true bottom of the deck. 5 of Pentacles, to the Chariot, to the 2 of Wands, to the 7 of Cups, to the Queen of Cups, with the Queen of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. So there's progress and movement from the conflict, and it has to do with shadow work. And that is what it means to go into hermit mode, to reconcile your energy, to consolidate your energy, and to find a way to move this vehicle. Now, you may actually move, because this card suggests that it could be travel, that you have to cross some part of the world, carrying this wand, taking the action to get from the 5 to the 6 of Wands. We know that this is the end result, but you might be here at this stage currently undergoing your transformation. You are under construction. You are a cell trying to be born again. You are a leaf. You are a root system. You are trying to connect to source. Here are all the options. A root traveling underground in the dark, the cosmic dark. Which one of these will be the source that you can use to grow into a place of wholeness, of self-love? That you can understand your cup. This is compassion. This is self-care. Sorry, you can't see. The Queen of Pentacles to the 8 of Swords. What it describes your situation currently. So it begs the question, do you know how to take care of yourself? Oof, 5 of Swords again. I'm going to say that you have a process by which you tell yourself that people have terrible thoughts about you. And it blocks you. And all of that will show up here in the 7 of Cups, which is why you have often chose the 8 of Cups as your choice to walk away from it all. But if you can stay in this darkness, in the solitude, in the hermit, and you can process your shadow, the shadow being that of the 5 of Swords, where you think terrible things about other people and therefore think that they think terrible things about you. Show me the 8 of Swords. Show me what happens in Taurus's mind. Show me what's going on. The 8 of Swords for Taurus. Missed opportunities. Not enough sacrifice, not enough work, not enough skill. Not healed, not belonging to anyone, not belonging to yourself. Not ready. Ego. Oh, wow. Magicians popping out at the bottom of the deck after Temperance. So what this story is that ego asks you to dive down into the depths, and you get stuck in the moon. Remember we saw the moon before? and you don't let things surface long enough to look at them, to understand them, to read them. And you forget your connection to source, and so you get frozen. And your tree is in reverse. But what you must remember is that these processes are human, and we all go through them. And that is how we grow, each one of us. You are not different. But your ego, there's not a kind way in which you feel you show up. There's not a kind this is a deprecation of oneself, and then a swing to the opposite. I want to be celebrated because I deserve it, but internally there's so much stress, anxiety, and worry, and overemphasis maybe on work, so that you don't miss opportunities because you don't feel good enough, you don't feel worthy enough, and therefore it's painful to be in the hermit energy, and you can't break through, right? Because the hermit can go into isolation, but the other part of the hermit's task is to come back to the people from a place of responsibility, from his connection to source, from his wisdom, to share his knowledge. That's the beauty, that's the shining aspect of what it means to find the light within. And here I can tell you that the Magician and the Temperance, so much of your ego is at this time in Aquarius season, you're being made to question what you manifest, and if you manifest from a place of balance. The Tower is here to talk to you about your thinking and the way that you speak to yourself and the conflicts that show up in your life because you've manifested them. There is no missed opportunity. You do not lack anything. You belong to you. This process of the Chariot, consolidating your energy so that you can plan forward and make this move, because there are so many opportunities, depends on you not resisting what it means to be part of a bouquet, to be part of art, to be art of charm, to be part of the beautiful melody of things. But you must love you. It is hard, Taurus. It's not an easy moment. Show me something about the ego. The root. There it is. The whip. Man. 2 times I have man. I must be reading for a masculine. So this is going to be the whip. How do you whip yourself? I'm going to read directly from here because it's too good. Argument, discipline, sexuality, persuasion, coercion, critical, overly critical, repetitive, aggressive, abusive, attackless, young person lacking self-control. This is beating yourself up. This is whipping your own self. But with the number 11, there is a chance for mastery here. It has to do with resistance. It has to do with holding on and perhaps who you saw as wise before you, that you might be modeling, that now it's coming into question. If you want to be in this head of state, King of Pentacles, your power card, there is also grace that is asked of you, tenderness that is required from you. Your connection to Source must not be lost. So I don't know if I'm talking to a Taurus who's just been battling one conversation, one job, one position, going up and down, back and forth, heavy with mood swings, dealing with headaches because I've got so many swords on the table. I don't know if maybe I'm talking with a Taurus that had a recent breakup with a spouse and is contemplating divorce, has to travel to go speak to someone. I don't know if I'm talking with a Taurus who's just having some growing pains, been rather immature and argumentative and combative in all aspects of your life, and you realize this is actually not how I want to show up anymore. But let's get some advice for all of those options. Advice for Taurus, please, so that you can feel at ease, not so separate, because you are not separate. Advice for Taurus. Whoa. Temperance in reverse. Temperance. We'll just take this upright. We don't really need to take these cards in reverse. These cards mean everything. This deck is amazingly profound. Temperance, the balance, the integration is what they call it. What else? The integration of your past with your present. I have laziness with justice. This is honorable mention. It came out at the top of the deck. I don't know if you saw it. So look, we're talking about being patient and understanding what it means to invest in something. 7 of Pentacles. The integration of the laziness that has been shown up until now. La paresse. Right? Like, what kind of overindulgent 9 of Cups codependent experience have you been sharing, showing, doing, being? How careless have you been when life has asked you to be fair? Here in this deck, justice is the breakthrough. Can you find a way to break through from the ways that you hold yourself back from true expression? The way that you talk yourself out of action, the way that your ego says stay comfortable rather than face a challenge an honorable way. 3 of Cups. We saw that before when the cards came out. This reconciliation, again, not necessarily to come back together, but for an amicable way in which you separate from someone or a friendship that has fallen into silence. There's a way to turn this car around, you know, and get back on the same level playing field, and just share a good time, a good conversation, a good understanding. You can be a knight of love. You can come with a cup of love instead of a whip. Compassion and possibility. Stop resisting. And maybe bring a present. So a lot of healing at this time as you go through this shift. Some of it is part of your identity and how you show up, but most of it is how you talk to yourself. And most of it is really about the ways that you have wrinkles inside and how they show up in the way that you relate with other people. The Hermit is a huge point of interest in this reading. And so I want you to know that that's the star that he carries. Yeah. And that's your connection to source. So that book that we saw 2 times from the Lenormand Oracle is a nudge, is a suggestion to you to maybe find some mystical approach that speaks to you. And I don't know what that is. Something that has a higher plane than the ego, than the 3D, than your work, than money, than status. Something that is quite mysterious, but that is grounded in one of the fundamental ways in which we talk about what it means to be a human, to be alive, to be eternal, to have a spirit. Guaranteed, whatever you are looking for is also looking for you. And that little nugget of gold that you get will give you the connection that you need to feel whole. And from feeling whole, you would not say that you've missed opportunities or that you will busy yourself working with a whip in case you don't miss opportunities, because the opportunity of wealth is actually connecting with compassion and love and making meaningful connections, whether it's to a spouse, to a friend, to a neighbor, to a mom. There is always a way to achieve understanding. There is always a way to balance something out. And even though I don't really enjoy the agree to disagree, it has its place here on this earthly plane, because it takes all kinds in this life, and whoever shows up on your path is meant to be there. But you have given me very clear information that this Page of Cups is where you have maxed out, capped out on your emotional intelligence. So you keep giving yourself passes that, like, oh, clumsy. That's the laziness. Now, I'm not saying that you're drinking, but I am saying that the easy part of the relationships, or the easy relating, the having fun, what happens after that? When it gets hard. So I leave it there, Taurus. I hope that something in this message was helpful for you in this transitional period of time. I hope that you have a beautiful Aquarius season. Spring is coming. And I think the worst of it is coming to pass. You must be patient, and you must put the whip down. Okay? Like, share, comment, subscribe. Ciao.